Hi there, this is Harry and welcome back to Advanced English Lessons with Harry, where we try to help you to get a better understanding of the English language. And in this particular lesson, we've got some crucial verbs to share with you. They are communication verbs, so Advanced English Lesson communication verbs, or verbs used in communication. Okay, so they are really important because this is going to tell you different ways in which you can communicate, get your point across to other people. So I'll give you those, that there are 10 of them, and then I'll go through them and give you examples of when you can use them in those sort of situations. Okay, and as always, if you find that you like this particular lesson, then please like the video, and if you can, subscribe to the channel because it really helps us. Okay, let's get back to our lesson. As I said, Advanced English Lesson with verbs, communication verbs. So these are probably verbs that you haven't heard before, or some of them may not. So be careful, make sure you understand them, try and practice them and write them and look them up in the dictionary if you don't understand them, or come back to me. And as always, you know the drill, I'll give you some extra examples. Okay, so let's go on with these. Number 1, address. 2, present. And important here to know it's a verb, so we pronounce it present, not present, present. Demonstrate, illustrate, assert, back up, to back up your arguments, convey, persuade, summarize, and then finally number 10, conclude. Okay, so good, important verbs connected with communication. Let's go back through them and give you an example so you'll hopefully understand exactly how to use it and what they mean. So the first one is address. Well, when we are communicating with people, particularly in groups, we address the audience. You have to make a presentation, so you stand up on the podium, you stand in front of the desk, you stand up on the stage, and you address the audience. You talk to them, you tell them what you're going to present, you tell them what they're going to hear, and then you tell them again. That's always a good way to make an address. Or if somebody's just making a speech, a going away speech, a retirement speech, they will address those people that have gathered in the room to wish Joe a happy retirement, to address the people, his friends that have gathered to address. Present. When we present some facts and figures. We present some information. So we want to present it in a clear way that it is understood. So perhaps we use a PowerPoint presentation. Perhaps we use something, the whiteboard on Zoom or whatever it might be. We present the facts as they are. We present the numbers. We present the sales figures from the previous quarter. We present the information that the people will understand or that the people are demanding to hear. So to present, so to give, to offer, to show people the information, to present. So when we are presenting, we want to do it in a clear, understandable way. We don't use too many words. Perhaps we use graphs or pictures that will get the message across. To present. Demonstrate. Well, when we are communicating, to demonstrate we might show how to use something. Or we might use demonstrate as a way to explain. Let me demonstrate what I mean. So that's a really good way to use it. Let me demonstrate what I mean. Okay, so if somebody's trying to explain why sales have improved or why sales have disimproved, let me demonstrate. So they give you some facts, they give you some figures, or they give you some anecdotal evidence or information that will back up their particular story. So they demonstrate. Or they can demonstrate how something works. So physically to demonstrate, that's a way of communicating, to demonstrate, to show people how it works. Or if you're putting together a new computer system or upgrading the computer or moving to a different type of system, somebody will come in from the software company to demonstrate exactly how it works. Okay, so they communicate how it's going to work. Illustrate. Well, illustration is usually to do with drawings. So if you buy a nice book, a beautiful children's book, there are always beautiful illustrations to illustrate. So a picture can illustrate. It can get the point across much better than words. Okay, so you can show a picture of what is happening. That will illustrate. But if we want to communicate to people in the same way as we said, let me demonstrate to you, I'd say, let me illustrate that point. So if I'm standing up in front of an audience and I'm explaining to them about the sales performance for the previous quarter, I might be telling them that sales were down 20%. Revenues are down 25%. So people might not really grasp exactly what I mean. So I might say, well, look, let me illustrate this quite clearly. So I take a particular region and I show them exactly what happened in the previous quarter and what happened in the same quarter in the previous year. So I compare them and I illustrate exactly what has happened. So people very quickly then understand why it's a difficult situation. So to illustrate is a way of communicating, to get your message across, to tell people what has happened. So you can do it in the way of figures, you can do it in the way of pictures or graphs. You illustrate the situation. To assert. To assert yourself when you're communicating means to make sure that your point is understood very clearly. You assert yourself. You want to stick to your opinion even though people may disagree with you. You continue to assert the facts that you believe you are right. Somebody says, no, I don't believe it. I don't think that's the way to do it. You say, believe me, this is the only way it's going to work. I know this. I know this market really well. So you're very assertive. You communicate that. You try to let people know that you believe your way, your methodology is the only one that's going to work. You are assertive. You assert yourself. Now, something a little less formal, to back up your argument. So if you're communicating facts or you're giving people some reasons why something is happening, it's always a good idea to support your view, your argument with information. So you back up to support, you back up your views. So if you're talking about why you believe the market can grow by 10 or 15% next year, you back it up with views. You can tell them that there's a demand for the product. You've spoken to the retailers. The people are looking for this particular product. In fact, they've been looking for it for a long time. And if we're the only ones or the second people to bring out this particular product, well then, yeah, our sales figures will increase. So you can back up your argument with facts. Back up your arguments with anecdotal information that will support what you want to say. And that's a good way to communicate. To convey. Well, convey is a very formal way to get your message across. Let me convey what I mean. Let me get across and let me try and explain to you what I mean. When we're communicating to people, if we want to thank them, we convey our thanks. Please convey my thanks to your boss. Please convey my thanks to the staff for the hard work that they did to get this promotion up and running. So we communicate our appreciation. We convey, we tell them. Now, we might convey it in the form of words. We might convey it in the form of a letter. We might even better convey it in the form of a bonus or some other gift that the staff will like to convey. Persuade. When we want to persuade somebody, we are trying to get them to change their opinion or change their view or to agree to our way of thinking. So this is a really important part of communication, persuasion. So if you want to get somebody or you want somebody to come around to your way of thinking, then you have to be persuasive. You have to put forward the arguments. You have to be rational so that they will understand that, yeah, perhaps he's right, and perhaps they will support you in this particular position or the view that you have. So you persuade people, a person or people, to come around to your way of thinking. And you do that by facts, by arguments, by general discussion, by supporting your arguments with information, hard information, and not bullshit. Okay? So to be persuasive, to persuade people. And then when you finish a presentation, or just before you finish a presentation, you want to tell the people exactly what you want. You want to tell them exactly what you've already told them. So you summarize, and summarizing is a really good way to bring all the points together and to present them to them in a very concise way. And that's how we summarize. It's a summary. Okay, so it's a great way of communicating. So you've introduced yourself at the beginning. You've gone through your presentation. You've gone through it in a lot of detail. And at the end, you give them the key points. So you say something like, in summary, I would like to ask you for your support, blah, 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 blah. So you summarize it in a few short sentences, okay, to summarize. And then finally, you conclude. You conclude with a thank you. You conclude with your appreciation for listening to you. You conclude with a promise that you will be back to present the figures or the findings in 6 months or 9 months or next year. So you use that conclusion to communicate your thanks, your appreciation. Okay? And usually when you're making presentations, when somebody says, and in summary or in conclusion, people go, that's over. Okay, so I can say, well, in conclusion, that's the end of this particular lesson, all relating to verbs connected with communication. There are 10 of them. So just before we end, I'll summarize and give you the 10 particular verbs. And as I said, they're really, really important, crucial ones that you can use. Address, present, demonstrate, illustrate, assert, back up with facts, convey, persuade, and then finally summarize and conclude. So that's all of those communication verbs. As I said, they're really, really crucial, really important for you, particularly in business English, because a lot of them are connected with business English. So try to practice them. You know the drill, as I said before. You try to use them, introduce some of them into your English. And if you still have difficulties, well, come back to me. You'll find me on www.englishlessonviaskype.com. I'll give you some extra examples, some new examples, and we'll try to help you to introduce them. But don't be afraid to go back and listen to this a couple of times, because some of them may well be new to you. But they really are good verbs, advanced English verbs. And that's what we're trying to do to improve your overall English and business English, whatever it might be. Okay, well, as always, I appreciate you listening and watching. This is Harry saying goodbye. Until the next time, join me again soon.